We're going to see which side. Stand with Are you going to tell us what you're going to play, or just play it and let us just sit back and enjoy?
This is the two-part mention number 4 in D minor. We've all known that music has the power to give us wonderful emotions, but we're obviously here to talk about music having the power to heal. And I wonder, you only touched very briefly on your early awareness of this. So can you be more specific and tell us the very beginning of your work and your observations with the idea that music could actually heal people, make people better?
Well, my first encounter with this, as I mentioned, was with the Awakenings patients, and where the flow of music and the movement of music allowed them to move. They shared the flow, and when the music stopped, they stopped, so you couldn't have it all the while. And you cannot. You have a little, a tiny thing which plays all the while. In some ways similar is the condition of stammering or stuttering, when you don't have a proper flow. And there again, people who stammer or stutter can sing often very well, as one saw in that movie of the King's Speech.
Right, in the King's Speech. So music, whenever he sang, he was fluid.
Right. Parkinson's is sometimes called a kinetic stutter. So that was one group of patients. Then there were patients who'd had a stroke or a tumor perhaps, and had lost the power of expressive language, and could only say a few words or were mute. And by accident, I found that some of them could sing. With one of them, I was told that it was her birthday, and so I started to sing Happy Birthday, and she joined in, and joined in not merely getting the music, but the words as well.
Were you stunned?
I was amazed, and so was the patient, that she could not only sing, but that the words, otherwise inaccessible, could be carried along by the music.
What did you make of those early observations? What were you thinking?
Well, I thought that different parts of the brain must be involved, and that perhaps language which may exist in a number of different forms, and that if language is embedded in music, or maybe embedded in poetry, it may still be available and be carried along by the flow in a way which is not if one is just saying something or making a proposition. But this, incidentally, this was an early observation in neurology in 1870. A great neurologist, Hughes Jackson, observed how speechless children could sing. And these were congenital aphasia. And so a second group at hospital are aphasic people. Then the third group, in 1980, the new music therapist came along. Our previous one was 90 and actually had to retire. She'd lied about her age for many years. But when Connie came along and we started to get very interested in the population of demented patients we had there and the power of music with them, although it seemed to be different sorts of music and different mechanisms in all three groups.
Okay, well, don't go up to 1980 because I have a clip to introduce, a video clip from a BBC documentary that's never been shown in the United States. This is 1974, and it's about something that you said inspired you to examine or to continue examining reawakenings in the brain. So let's look at the clip and then tell us, you interpret what we're seeing.
On his arrival, Sachs brought all the sleepy sickness patients together into one ward. Right. He started looking for friends and relatives who had lost touch, and he himself formed with them such relationships as he could.
Okay, right over.
Come on, everybody, move your fingers out, up, back of your head, in front.
Sachs noticed that although the patients seemed grossly physically disabled, for brief and surprising moments, they could rediscover their lost coordination. Breakthrough. Using a new drug, L-Dopa, Dr. George Coatsias had a resounding success in curing the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Coatsias called L-Dopa the miracle drug of our age. For the first time in 40 years, there was hope.
One knew that L-Dopa was useful in ordinary Parkinsonism of fairly mild degree and fairly short duration. Here, one is for people who had the profoundest disease of the longest duration. Could they be equally helped?
Sachs decided to use L-Dopa, not so much in the expectation of miraculous success, but as a last resort. The condition of many of the patients, now in their 50s and 60s, was deteriorating rapidly. None more so than Lola, who was unable to swallow solid food and was threatened with starvation. She was first given L-Dopa in May 1969 in the hope of keeping her alive. It did much more than that.
Lola